Where you been?
Where have I been? Where have we been?
I don't know, missing. Even look, the picture frames of they've moved. They haven't changed. Oh, wait a second, things have changed.
So we should have got
We lost the
Halloween cobwebs and stuff.
Yeah.
And just put it all tilted and
It's like-
stuff. Turn up a mess.
That's back. Sorry.
But we're on.
We are.
We've been busy.
We'll make it a quick one.
Yes.
We've got to cover a couple of quick things we've been doing
Yes.
for the last 6 weeks, but that was because we did 3 workshops
Yes.
with
Coast Mountain Running.
Yeah.
Our amazing local run shop and subsequent community, I guess.
helping Christina out in trying to get the trail community engaged in not leaving it to the last minute.
Which is the key, right?
Which we all do at some stage.
Oh, absolutely. Life gets in the way, work gets in the way, stress gets in the way, all sorts of things, and then you go, oh.
2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Maybe not 2 weeks.
Hopefully not 2 weeks, but
yeah.
certainly it can creep up.
Just right.
And you might have your ideal build being X,
Yeah.
and then you sort of get a month in and you go, oh, I haven't actually reached these benchmarks yet. So,
Whether it's the volume, so then you end up cramming.
Yep.
You end up, I suppose, nutrition, race planning, gear, all those things become a problem. So we thought it'd be a good idea to talk to Christina about some ideas. She was thinking about putting some workshops on as well. So we thought let's kick a collab and get some of that started. So the first workshop that we did, we had ourselves. And
Yes.
so Kath
White from White's Running.
well.
Excellent local coaching coach. She runs her own
Coaching.
business. Local female running business, which is another amazing member of our community.
Yeah.
So yes, the three of us came in, had a lot of the local community. So at the time, we were still a good 4 or 5 months out of what we're focusing on, that big localish event of UTA. So trying to draw that crowd in and give them some of the key things, rather than that last minute, Facebook post of, hey, what head torch should I be using? Hey, should I use poles? And you sort of look at it and go, there's like 2 weeks to go, dude.
So let's get in front of it.
Yes.
So that was the idea. So Michael from Endless Trails
podcast.
and Josh. So we haven't introduced. It's been a while, but this is how we flow. We rock it, get into it, right?
So it works.
It works.
Or it might not, and you can let us know in the comments if it doesn't.
Yeah. The workshop wasn't that bad, but let's be honest. That was organised.
The workshop was great.
It was well organised. We probably had first one sub 30. It was pretty packed.
Yeah.
Pretty warm. In there. What was the event? The space called
Black Metal.
Black Metal.
Yeah. Motorcycle.
Yeah.
The local bar in Port Kembla, pretty much across the road from Coast to Mountain.
Yeah.
Another really cool little community.
It worked really well. Yeah.
So, and we've just come from out there doing the social run.
Yeah.
So fortnightly, we all get together for a free social run around Port Kembla when we can on a Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah.
So we got together first session.
Yeah.
The three of us, you, myself, and Kath,
and Christina. So
and Christina, the four of us. Yes. The superstar, the boss, so not to be forgotten.
And I think from our perspective, the amount of I suppose import and I suppose there was a goodie bag for everyone that turned up.
It was amazing.
It was like $10 and you got $10 voucher off the store. From our perspective, was just I think getting some accountability of knowing numbers of who was coming, etc. And then I rock up for the session and there's all these bags, nutrition and samples of things, and I'm like, oh wow, this is
realistically, and if you put like a dollar value just on the workshop itself, if you say that's worth $10, realistically, you're getting like $50 worth of, and that's if you only place $10 value on the workshop itself.
Yeah.
You're getting at least $50 out of you.
Bag, which went down well, which and that was then every workshop as well.
Oh, absolutely. Every time I got turned up week after week, and Christina had all these extra amazing things for local businesses, and all sorts.
And there was obviously some contribution from some other, recovery centres.
Yes.
Involved as well out at Shahaba.
Really?
So first one was focused around, from our perspective, about what UTA training block looks like, what to be aware of, what to consider leading into that. We also covered conversations around gear, terrain training as well, because specifically for the UTA course, and we covered everything from 11, 22, 50, 100, talked about the mile.
I mean, from two phases, I guess, from the coach experience and the experience.
Yeah.
So for ourselves, we're not certified coaches or anything, but like we have,
multiple times,
between us, years and years of experience
Yeah.
with this event and with trail and ultra running big distances in general.
Yeah.
So coming from that real experience of, this is what training looks like for us. This is what the lead up looks like for us. This is what getting your gear together looks like for us. And this is what this particular event looks like.
Focuses on, and also what can come and go, what's normal to go wrong. Exactly. Also know that those things happen, that over the years, those things will come and go, as we participate in these as well.
And then that second tier with Kath as a coach of runners, from that coaching perspective of, this is how I would coach, this is what I would recommend for a training block, and this is what I would recommend to do as the race logistics. Yeah,
around the structure of that as well. And I think it was actually quite interesting, because what I then, from our perspective, being, say, male runners, it was like a lot of the conversation did lead into about the dynamic of how training blocks obviously work for female runners, and how loading and life demands and those types of things can occur as well. It was actually quite interesting to hear the flow and the dynamic of how coaching has to happen around that configuration as well. And there was a good mix of participant runners that came, so it was a good variety that I noticed, that there was some people that had it, this was their first, and people that weren't doing UTA either, that were just coming to get some knowledge around sort of the trail space as well at that first event.
And it wasn't really like touching. So we made sure we allowed time for questions and everything. And then after the event as well, there's like a really informal
chat,
which was really cool. And from that, noting that there was a real diversity. There were people who were doing the various distances at UTA this year, people who had done it before, people who weren't doing it at all, but are just new to trail running in general, and just interested in trail running, and what does that look like. So it was a fairly broad overview, and a pretty good split of male and female as well.
Yeah, definitely. So I think we went through that, but we knew before that workshop we'd already set the sequence up that the first one was obviously going to cover some of the path and the journey and the discovery of what that actual event is, and then that sort of led into the second workshop, which was going to focus on sort of strength work, and also around physio and injury management, which we had Dylan from Make It Count Performance, and also Mikaela from Prep Health Performance.
So first tier was sort of that real running training, like run specific stuff. Second tier was that maybe not oft forgot, but some of that easily discarded or disregarded aspect of training with the rehab, the prehab, the strength training, the maintenance stuff.
Understanding the load that you're putting through the body, and that therefore you're sort of coupled together, because I think that helps support and revalidated the strength work that you need to do specifically for trail running. That therefore it's like, well, by doing that work, it stops you then lapsing into that injury component. So that was a good sort of combination that we had. And we had, they had a great handout workshop sort of process. Dylan handed out a Make It Count Performance handout, which was available to all the participants as a follow-up email, which covered everything from
part of the package.
That's right, and endless endless value of information, understanding, like how the body loads and how the training start build the building blocks of by doing that training over time and how the body adapts to that. And then as well, like at the end of that, he had a training recommendation block. What a training week or fortnight that would look like if you're doing 2-3 days worth of training at the gym, and had a whole different combination of obviously exercises to build upon strength. So without handing out the magic, you have to come to another workshop into the future, or reach out to Dylan directly to get some engagement from himself about what he does in that space. But it did talk about where you were in injury management or loading, and whether or not sometimes that was around doing isometric sort of exercises. His focus was quite around plyometrics, and not losing. Strength work is building muscle and strength component, but when you're in the trail space, you are if you're dancing on the trails and down hills and up the stairs and all those things, is like the plyometric sort of component is being able to get that. I suppose that mind coordination to your feet of what's actually occurring and getting that sort of firing. And the more that you do that, that you build strength around that. Obviously, it creates resilience. That when you do roll your ankle, the chances of injury in that becomes less. And that was probably one thing I took away from that, is that the more strength work that you do and prepping your body, that in those high risk moments, which is like rolling an ankle, something similar to that, is that the damage that you do from that can actually be reduced. Meaning that if your ankles are strong, that when you do roll, it's not a full roll. Like the grade of damage is going to potentially be less, which helps your recovery time as well, which leads into injury management. So I found that was quite a good eye-opening, in regards to help me validate. I train with Dylan, but that sort of helped me to revalidate, remind me that's the reason why I'm doing that. Because sometimes you just get used to doing those, and over time you might just go, well, it's getting a bit busy, it's a bit tough now. Let's drop that out of the life cycle. Was there anything particular in that sort of space that you do your training a little bit different? You don't have a PT, so I know that we've talked in the past that you go do your own training. Did it help you? Did you change anything? How was that?
I think I don't do a lot of the not plyometrics. Bouncing pogos.
Which like that plyometrics.
So I don't.
I was funny because it was a joke. It was the next day as I had the video that I was doing the pogos because we're having a fun.
That's right.
Jumping on your 2 feet, I don't know, I've heard people call them stiffies. There's a whole bunch of different things that they get called, but that sort of responsiveness.
So I used to do a lot of that, but it's certainly fallen off. So I haven't done a lot of that for a long time. So I think, some of that got me thinking, maybe I should throw it. So I get like right into the lift heavy and fewer.
So so he's sort of modelling around that was obviously the model that he sort of talked about REP, training, and then also picking that sort of the percentage of like a rating out of 10 of whether or not how that felt, and whether or not you get a couple of weeks where that felt like it's a 7 out of 10, and then you go up and then create that sort of ceiling of building up between the rests.
So that's kind of how I focus a lot of my strength training after a lot of research and experience and stuff. It's like get as heavy as you can go, do lowish reps and get it done. But haven't done a lot of the plyometric stuff. So
I'll give you a copy of
space to jump back in.
So there you go. There we go. Pick on from that before
my project.
Before you become an injured runner.
Exactly.
Which doesn't escape us all, because you can be doing all that and then also have all the injuries.
And that's that that life creep as well, like different stresses of life, relationships, work, sickness.
Which leads into sleep, the nutrition and all those things as well, right? Because all of that comes together. You turn up to do a session and it's like, is it going to be a good quality one or not? And then you start stacking those, and then it's sort of, what do you start to sacrifice? The things aren't working is, staying consistency. That's what we talked about.
That's right. And that's where we sort of slide into Mikaela's DMs.
Help me, make sure that I stay prepped.
Yes.
Prep. HB. So the items that I think what we found with Mikaela, which was a great presentation, slides through all the items that we did, but it was actually she had some what would you say, props regards to like tendons and understanding. It was a good exercise of understanding, like was the tendon and the muscle, like an elastic band, and be able to demonstrate understanding that the tendons attached to the muscles. And I probably always get that wrong because I'm like tendons, ligaments, always get mixed. Tendons attached to the muscles, but the stress that comes around where the muscle actually attaches, to the tendons. And if I'm wrong, someone correct me. That process.
Get in the comments.
That's exactly right. But what was important, I think early on, she sort of talked about just understanding like the load that the body is as you impact the ground. So you're talking about that force that you have. So as single leg, you need the impact of your body weight and the running movement onto the single leg, and actually how much additional percentage of impact that you're putting through those, again, the bone structure, ligaments, tendons, etc. Just, oh, wait a second, not realising that some of the highest percentages, like the Achilles tendon, is like 6 to 7 times your body weight, is actually what the load of impact that is going through your isolated part of your running chain or your running gait that you actually have going on, and then understanding that is your body ready, and that's not taken into account downstairs, downhill, braking force on trails. That's just someone running.
Yes.
Right, and that obviously that comes back through the ground. Same scenario, that what the impact is, to the body, so that making sure that you're prepping the body by strength work, etc., so that you're minimising those isolation of injuries as well. So,
I think, and which she didn't make this comparison, but I kind of tend to think about some of that stuff, like the old crash test dummy videos. Because the same thing, like the faster that car's going, like it's all the weight of that car, and you see those videos hitting that wall at 20 km an hour, 40 km an hour, like the more damage it does, and you're doing the same thing, hitting the road, hitting the trail, so your 80 kilo frame, 50 kilo frame, whatever it is, you're all pushing down through the knees, through your ligaments, through your ankles, through your feet.
And realistically, just running is not going to strengthen those components to the volume that's needed if you want to put your body through that loading in the first place.
And so a really cool thing, in that workshop space, because as I don't know, most people have been to some kind of workshop or seminar, or just being in school where you're sitting there and you're listening. The cool thing that Mikaela did was got everyone up. And did the calf raises. You should be able to do 30 calf raises. On one leg, single leg calf raises on each side,
which is a common physio baseline test.
So in that seminar, so obviously for a physio sort of perspective, that's what they would do anyway for a runner. But in that workshop space, it was really good to get people up and moving and to engage. Not that I'm just sitting here watching and listening. Now I've got that extra layer of learning to engage different people's ways of learning, which is great.
Tendons, the fibrous tissue that connects muscles to bones. Yes, we're here fact checking it, right? But then again, ligaments are fibrous tissues that connect bones to bones. Okay, so bone to bones, ligaments, muscles to bones. Right, tendons. Great, like went through the process of understanding. One thing that I struggle, and like say for example, I have a lot of Achilles issues, and blood flow is not fantastic to those areas of repair sort of cycle, and dealing with all that at the moment. But understanding it, that the tendons themselves, and this is a demonstration of like having a string, and that it's actually having all those things, tendons, and when they're actually in a straight line perspective, and understanding versus spaghetti, like that's sitting there. It's like, okay, that's why you've got a problem, because the connective flow. I'm not going to be too deep into all the items. So it's just understanding that, they're visual indicators, understanding, that's what's actually happening. So how does the body rebuild, restructure those tendons? So, if you're in injury stage, it's like going back to isometric style exercise. Okay, that's why they get given to you when you go to a physio. sometimes we work like, oh, do I just do what I'm being told? But sometimes you want to understand, oh, that's the progression. So that's why I'm doing that ISOs under load. Once that starts to repair and get meshed back to straight line, then I get into plyometrics or to the next load of strength training. Okay, that now makes sense why you end up back to having to do calf raises off a stair with load slowly and building back to that, not jumping down, the running track or running because doing that instant's not actually, the tendon's not actually working in that perspective. So it's like, oh, okay, that starts to make sense. For me, it helps, in that perspective. Other things that talked about, she went into talking about, as like the feel my runnings and reads like components where the body is not able to keep up with the volume and then the impact on bone strength, bone density, those types of things as well, which is early signs to keep an eye out for things that you need to be careful with as well.
We've got Strava spikes.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm doing 50Ks a week this week. Oh, now we're doing 10Ks a week, and now we'll do 15, and now we're going to do 60Ks, and then, I'm injured.
Yeah, and then that was indicators of like, stress fractures and things like that, and just understanding like how long it can take to come back from a stress, bone stress fracture, and then the indicators of that as well. So like, how do you know, that's starting to happen? And obviously again, depends on your bone density and things that are occurring within runners. And just being, when you start to see what the other side of that injury management could look like, you actually then start to take a bit of focus on, oh, wait a second, I need to take that serious because I love running, but if I don't take care of myself, that could be a 6 months to 12-month recovery period on the other side. So just being a little bit more, I think everyone sort of slams themselves and goes in hard to different items and then not then, so you get injured, then start to say, oh, that's only a rolled ankle, so it's only 4 weeks. But when it gets to those serious items, it can actually be quite a long time to recover from as well, which we'll talk about, Reds, which is sort of part of that and all the signs that we had. And then Mikaela had a sample like recovery program. So you could then sort of see, oh, wait a second, now I get to see what a 6 to 12 months recovery looks like potentially from, those major injuries. And so you probably want to start to think about prepping your body so that you can perform, particularly in load management, strength management. Yes. It's what was covered. So I think a lot of people, I sort of the feedback of that workshop session, a lot of people like, oh, okay, I'm starting to understand something. It's a little bit more than just running. Like I know trails and running, we all get out there and we do that. But if you want to actually be doing that well for a longer period of time and not even have to be a high performance. Like no one in the room's like, oh, we want to be a top 10, finisher at UTA or something like that. Is we want to just go out and enjoy what we're doing, for a long period of time. Yeah. Again, so it was actually like, okay,
long-term sustainable progress or just sustainable enjoyment of the sport.
Yeah.
I just want to be out there having a good time. What does that look like? Going for a 10K run every day and nothing else? Well, might work for a bit, but are you going to do that for, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years?
Is it going to be sustainable? About a longer period of time. Talking about, the load management graphs that we'll go through previously. Make sure, it's just making sure, like, okay, that's one of the topics that we covered. And then again, there was the prioritising, of recovery, which we'll sort of come in a second and talk about workshop, number 3.
Yes.
But in through number 2 is like actually understanding that, sleep and nutrition, hydration and active recovery are core building blocks to allow to minimise injury at the end of the day, because we think injury, yes, strength, but if you're doing that, for a high volume of hours a day and you're not recovering, then you're basically just getting higher and higher risk that something via load management is going to become a problem at some stage. The body can only obviously recover normally during sleep process, and you've got to be obviously nutrition and hydration in the body for the sleep to actually then work.
Yes.
Then every day, right?
Yeah.
So having the right timing around that, etc. So that was the wrap that I had from Mikaela's demonstration from Prep Health and Performance.
Yes.
And that was workshop number 2.
Which was great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. And I was excited because I knew number 3 was coming.
Yes.
All right, and we had...
number 3 was a little bit slightly different format. Which was interesting. I wasn't sure how the dynamic of that would change.
Yeah.
So obviously we had the first session, so for essentially four panelists to really discuss the individual process.
Yeah.
Second one, we had the two panelists,
Specialists in their fields. Yeah.
Certified specialists who could talk about it. They're on site.
Yeah.
And then our third one was Gaby dialed in via Zoom.
Yeah.
Was it Zoom or regardless?
So, via a webcam.
Via webcam. That's exactly
my tech.
Yeah.
Which was at this stage, like the numbers were getting, the room was packed.
Oh,
after
absolutely.
number 2.
Yeah.
We're like, we're like numbers are tight, room's packed, and now we've got Gaby coming in on a Zoom, and we had a choice of how I suppose, how do you do this?
Gaby's in WA.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's not a simple. Just duck over.
And I was going to guess is it intense eat fit, intensity fit. I did a real lot of it. See how it kicks in a little bit. Which one it is not had. We'll tag you and then we'll know.
Yes.
But the interesting part was like, do we do this over Zoom for everyone just to dial in? But the atmosphere of having the workshop, of everyone being there, taking your goodie bag, right?
Yes.
Was that then people you could see and talk and ask questions, and everyone else in the room felt like that part of, and then when it finished, obviously talk as well.
Yeah.
But it just felt bringing that community together to be able to, engage together collectively and learn. And it was great. It was a great. It went well. It worked really well, and
I think that was that's probably an important part of this series as a whole, was that it was bringing community together. Yes, the information and the education piece and the goodies and all that is really important, but bringing that community together and seeing that we're all just people and we're
he was what enjoy what we're actually doing and learn something, and we're not all experts in everything. Day things change.
Yeah.
What we did a couple of years ago different today, and until you try something else, well, error. You've got to try and fail. At the end of the day, try again. And in nutrition, it's probably something that's very important to be able to do that, right? Because everyone's different, particularly in nutrition, on how that works with their bodies and where they are in life and apply. So Gaby's rundown was like there was 3 sections, to her presentation, and you're not walking away with here's a race plan of how to run an ultra or a backyard, and this is how this works. Not the concept. The whole concept there was an understanding that nutrition was part of fueling. The reason, the purpose of that is about fueling your body so you can actually then do the training and execute your long runs in high volume. So I think we've had chat even a little bit earlier about different approaches to how people fuel, and I reckon probably 5-6 years ago, probably before I got longer and then found that it wasn't sustainable. Meaning the longer volume that I went, the approach that I was having wasn't sustainable.
Yeah.
When I was running marathons at 50 to 100, it was like I would, be carb sacrifice. You're basically not having fuel before you run. Yeah. So I'd go run a Saturday, and then I would not have any fuel until an hour, and then start having some gels at the end of the day to start fueling. And it's like, that's what you did. You're trying to build your adaptation of your threshold sort of window so that you could go longer, the body adapting, to starving it with fuel so that you could run faster and quicker on less fuel. Yes. So if I just give you a little bit, drip you a little bit of fuel, here's a little bit of sugar, let's go. Like the body's going to react to having a limited amount of fuel. So you're just trying to think that's how the body reacts to race performance. Yeah. And then I sort of started to see the longer that I was going, it wasn't possible because you're getting an hour or 3 hours into a long trail run and going.
I think an easy trap to sort of fall into because most people will come from a 5K, 10K, half marathon, maybe a marathon, and then they'll go, might try this bigger stuff. And a lot of doing those events, that methodology is right. And so with a lot of training and fueling and recovery and everything, a lot of people just go, it's just marathon.
Yeah, it's an training might be under an hour, right? And I might be able to get away with it because I don't actually need it.
Yes.
That completely, so I aspire a little bit to it, not by planning, by going, wait a second, like I can't function on this amount of fuel. So, get fuel with purpose perspective is like sort of flipping that sort of upside down to understand that it's like you need to fuel all the time. Yeah. Your body needs to be at the right intake, both of its, nutrients and fueling and all hydration, get all those items, but about keeping that jar full.
Yes.
So that when you go to train, you're actually training with your body with the best capacity available to do that training session and then recover, not going into negative. And then when it is negative, then you have to deal with life, stresses, your daily routine and recovery, and then the sleep, and then back into the next day. And then starting with that being, well, I'm actually 100%. I think it's like charging your mobile phone.
Yeah.
Right? If you started the day, at 40, 50%, and you get through now I'm at 30, and now go do an hour hard session. I'm now at 10. Oh, it's okay. I've still got 10%. My phone still works. But it's not functioning the way, is it going to get slower? Most people wouldn't understand, but laptops and computers nowadays, they will slow down so that the battery doesn't continue to drain. So it's sort of the same concept. A tech guy is that having your battery at 80, 90% charged up, when you do go then to do your performance session, you are giving your body the most amount of capacity to be able to execute and recover.
Yes. So
that then you can go into your next session and then the next session. That's how you make sure that you sustain. Fueling with purpose, that's the undertone of all of that. How you do that, it's around nutrition planning.
Yes.
Things like that.
Good ones, because most people will have a GPS watch.
Yeah.
And the majority of them, if you charge to 100%, go out, run, no worries. You get it down to 15, maybe 10%. Okay, no worries. You go out for a run.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it gets to a certain percentage. Most of them will go, okay, well, I'm not tracking the GPS anymore. I'm just going to track the time.
Yeah, and then it'll go up to the run.
Yeah, losing those stats. Same thing with the body. You get to a point if you haven't got enough fuel on board. Yeah. Then it's like
the body is just it's smart, right? At the end of the day, it's going to start cutting corners and processes to keep trying to whatever you want to call it, right? It's going to try to focus on giving you what you're trying to do right now.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean holistically, that's great. Okay, but you want to run right now, well, I'll find fuel for you to do that.
Yes.
Because that's what you're telling the body to do, which might not be the greatest thing for recovery.
Mm-hmm.
We're not doing one run. Right,
yes.
It's the strength training. It's all the other work that you're actually doing, and then the weekly run. Then you turn up to your Saturday or Sunday long run, and the body's been fighting the whole week, trying to fuel itself to keep normal status quo.
Yeah.
And now you put a big load on it, right? And that's where the injury and the load and puts all the things into risk mode.
A good piece that sort of Gaby talked about, which I had heard in the past from other people, she sort of flipped it to talk about the extreme athletes who spend their life, pro athletes, and they're fueling because they're doing these big runs and they're running fast and everything. So they're eating, X amount of carbs every day, X amount of fuel every day. So they have pasta, or whatever it is. And then their career's over and don't need to do that anymore, but they keep fueling the same way. Yeah. And so now they're not using that fuel anymore. So then you start, swelling up, you're getting fat, that sort of stuff. So that reverse sort of thing. Yeah. So if you're doing all the training and you're eating, a banana a day and a can of tuna.
Like you're not training.
Then
you're not going to...
There's going to be problems.
So using the flip understanding to understand that when you are going into that mode, well, of course you need to fuel,
So if you're not running every day and you're eating, 10,000 calories a day.
If you want to,
right? That's fine.
Yeah.
But the consequences are that you're going to...
It's the same. It's a mirror image of that circumstance.
Exactly.
That way.
So the two ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that she tried to emphasise and how do you present that to runners? And I think one of the good... the good approaches and that she's used and I've seen from her past workshops is talking about everyone, like the rave around carbon shoes, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, go get a carbon plate shoe. Everyone's going to buy them, buys them because it's giving me 3% extra performance, right?
Yeah.
And you look at a marathon time and go, okay, I'm running a 4 hours, 3 hour 30, 5 hours, whatever, but you take 3%, whatever that is, off that time, but I'm going to go buy a $350, $400, $500 pair of shoes because that's going to make me run faster for 3% return. But if you then looked at that from a nutrition perspective, and if you fueled the body correctly and using stats that you had as part of some marathon blocks, surveys and athletes, that it was, I think, but it was like 6 to 8% as range of the number by fueling the body correctly, that you got a 6 to 8% performance of time increase. So that's not buying a pair of shoes. That's like you performing better overall in everything that you do. And then how much would you spend on a pair of shoes?
Yeah.
$400 or $500. But why would you invest that in ensuring that your nutrition planning all the time is going well?
Yeah.
So we can do both, right? If that's what you really want to do.
Oh, absolutely.
Why not, right? You know, I'm getting so maybe just that needs to be you and work that out. But just framing it in a runner's sense, like people go buy their gear and their shoes and will go buy the latest pair of socks because that's going to make me, finish the UTA because I've got the best backpack or something. It's like, no, the work is all underneath that to make it actually execute.
And that's one of the biggest keys, right? I think across the workshops and across what we sort of talk about is that long-term consistency and putting in and finding those big sort of blocks as opposed to that quick win sort of stuff. Because I get the lightest vest because I can pay $300 for that win.
Yeah.
I can get the lightest shoes with the carbon plate, which gives me the 3% for $500.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to buy my way to the
put another plate at the gym.
Right.
Like,
exactly. Like you take that away.
Yeah.
Like, well, it's better to get the 8 hours sleep than to work for 8 hours to pay for the
shoes,
$500 shoes.
Got you.
Like because realistically, 3% there
for. There's many ways to gain that percentage, right?
Exactly.
Runners tend to, well, when I say runners, all tend to, I suppose, at different stages, we go, that's it. I'm going to buy those inner soles or that massage ball because my Achilles or my calf or something. Like, great, and we all know, okay. No, that's not. The hard work is the consistency. Right? Always.
The latest influencer stuff, the nose strips,
there's the fringe components.
Yeah.
You're right, but at the end of the day, that's the consistency and hard work, and the body will adapt to that.
And that's it, because getting the shoes and all that sort of stuff is great as an extra. Add that on and
that's right.
Just core work.
Yeah.
You
just be distracted. Like at the end of the day, you're just distracted to something because.
And realistically, those little percentage gainers there are probably you're not really going to gain that 3% because you're not doing the work
in the first place. Yeah. So I feel that that's obviously, as we said earlier, that loops all the way around about like why sitting around. Geez, this is need to get that conversation sort of and put it into a forum which actually executed really well.
Yeah.
So I think coming out of that workshop series where now that's finished, some time back in planning, kick back into some more podcasts for Endless Trails to put on. But we do, I know Christina is organising a workshop for marathons.
Yes.
So I think that's in lining up to. I'm not sure if it's Gold Coast or Sydney, but I know that's coming up in the next window of time. And then I think after May, there's a backyard workshop also. For context, obviously Red's backyard's coming up locally.
Yep.
And there is Sydney's, but I think that's only a few weeks away anyway. But just having that framework in place, just to go through that workshop sort of series about again in a micro sort of element, talking about those elements that are more focused on to backyard, and that's it.
One of the good through lines of the series that we did just do, which I imagine this will sort of carry through, and which is a great way that I think our community sort of does pretty well, is talking about the differences between for everyone. You know, it's not a hard and fast thing. So, and certainly one of the things that came up a lot with this is differences between male and female training and the different body needs.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
You know,
and like as you're alluding to, it doesn't matter if you're a young runner or an old runner. It's your first one that you're doing or your last one that you're actually doing, right? It's part of that process about as a community to take that ideas and inputs, and there was questions being asked in all those forums that like everyone's like, oh, actually that's interesting. Like it just takes someone to ask that question because everyone in the room was obviously thinking about those ideas. I just need a little bit of clarity on what does that actually mean, for me. So it was actually good in that to be able to connect together. I'm hoping, the space was pretty packed. So, hopefully, as next ones kick along, we can, maintain and grow. It's just about sharing.
Build that base knowledge, build that community.
Which leads into, you've also been doing some work. We all had downhill December. So locally here in Illawarra, we've obviously got the Seacliff Coasters social, running group community that's out there. But everyone was trying to, I suppose bait you into like what's next. We had a couple, and it was like, oh, Christmas, and everyone's like, what's this is all downhill.
Yes,
we're having uphill events. Like, what's coming, Josh?
What's next?
Like, are you organising all this stuff? Like, what's coming?
What can be
what's going on? Like, please, someone's going ask. So
I got into the mental lab, and the mad scientists sort of put some stuff together, and developed to kind of put the feelers out. Did a couple of surveys, tried to get some feedback on what does the community want, what does people want to see, and try and encourage people to do it themselves as well. Like, you want to go for a run, let's put something up, let's get people together, and it's all free, right? Seacliff Coasters Facebook page and Instagram and Strava page, all free to get on board, and all the events and stuff we do are free, and trying to welcome everyone, whether you're at the pointy end.
And this is what I suppose the focus of this is trying to, get out there. Is that it's like it does not matter.
Let's just
if
enjoy.
It's first downhill or doing your first trail and you're being out there. The group accommodates, because there is people that are walking that are just going to go out. I think people sometimes just think it's going to be this race. It's not. It's about just getting out from a social engagement perspective into the trails, engaging with the rest of the community that's there. And I didn't realise someone's just walking the loop.
Exactly.
And
that's what it's about.
Pressure's off.
Social side of things, bringing people together and building that community. And so that was really the core of the Downhill December stuff. To create something fun, a little bit of a challenge for those people who really want to go for it, but also a social aspect to just really bring people together and build that community. So we did that. That went off like crazy. I think over the series we had well over 100 people. It was huge. And so now built towards the next series, which is a winter series, not as compact and concise as what Downhill December was, which was 3 weekends in a row. This is spread out throughout the winter, with sort of breaks in between, and trying to gear it a little bit towards what events are on. So obviously UTA is coming up, so throwing in some runs that kind of should roughly align with what people are training towards.
As part of this training block, so that I can jump into that to do that weekend.
And you might want to make your long a bit longer or shorter, but there's usually with the events there's different aspects. So there will be a shorter loop or distance, and a longer distance, night run. And again, emphasis on the social, but give a little bit of a challenge with a point score to it.
Got it. But is it like a night run? Like most engagements of these things, to go out to run in the night for these, you'd have to go with a group, organised with your other run buddy. If you have someone to do that, turn up at an event like UTA that if you're going to be a miler, obviously it's through, potentially through the night. It will be through the night. You're starting, early. Even at the 100, if you're middle of the pack, you're coming in the dark.
Absolutely.
So the ability to go do that with the group, and even learn from other people, experience it if it's your first one or two. The volume of headlamp questions I can imagine are going to be asked, because it doesn't matter what race it is. there's 1,000 questions. I'm going to buy a headlamp. How many looms? What's the best one? What battery? Like, there are things that you actually can get to see while someone's running and they've got like the floodlights on.
Yeah.
And you're like, what have you got? What is it? Where did you get that from? Oh, it only lasts an hour.
Yeah, exactly, right.
All the bits that matter.
Yes.
But being able to do that in an organised group and the safety net of having those people there, it in itself is, just tick that box to be there, right? Yeah.
That's right. So, yeah, finding little education opportunities, some fun opportunities, and all that sort of stuff. Starting off on the 18th of April.
Okay.
We've got the Trailracer Marathon, which also is a little fundraiser. So all the events are free.
Yeah.
The idea is just maximum capacity for people to get on board, regardless of what your ability is, regardless of what your financial capacity is. Just come and have a time. But also with this one, if you want, you can donate to the charity, which Gunter's raising money for SIFS, a local youth and family services charity, which is great.
Yeah.
So, but that kicks off on the 18th. We've got a full marathon distance, all trail, and a half marathon distance trail. So it's a looped one. So you go out for a roughly 21-ish K loop, and then go do that loop again if you're going to do the full.
So if you're confident with that, get out there.
Come and have it. Even if you don't want to do a half, come and do 10Ks, come and do 5Ks, whatever. Like, just come and have a bit of a time, meet some people, and get involved.
Cool.
Also adding a, like I said, a point score component where the more you participate, like everyone gets a point if you come and turn up and participate.
So I can still turn up.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know. It might be April the 18th. We might be back on the schedule of running.
See how we go. And like I said, turn up and do a short run. You'll still get a point.
Yeah.
And I've designed it in such a way where, yes, for the fast ones who are a bit competitive, they'll get more points. But realistically, if one person turns up every event and just does the shortest distance, there's a high likelihood that they're going to win because they're going to end up with more points.
Consistency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you got the fast runners turn up and they win 2 out of and only turn up to 2 events.
Remember that little graph that I had?
See, exactly.
It might be the injured runner.
Whereas you can back of the packet, turn up. And you'll get the points. Another really cool thing that's happened, and I'm pretty sure I can announce it, is that one of the Coasters members has just scored a small little grant to put on a little bit of a barbecue for one of the events as well. So that'll bring people together, increase that social capacity as well.
If not, we can go to Bunnings.
Oh, exactly.
Options.
That's right.
Anyway, someone can go get the snacks. Someone's got to go help, right? So someone can go pick them up and bring them back up for the back of the packets.
And again,
still walking.
Coaster Mountain coming on to throw a little sponsorship our way. So,
who supported also the first downhill December.
100%, which was amazing. They handed over so many prizes. It just kept coming. I was like, this is amazing for a free event that you don't have to pay for, and a whole bunch of people walked away with prizes. I created a couple little awards myself, which I'm doing again for this one.
To come put it up on the mantelpiece.
Yes.
Make a little spot here for one.
Actually, we should. We definitely should pop that up and they go. Doo, 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 doo. So I've created a couple more awards for this one, but also you'll get some real prizes as well.
I don't know if he might listen, but he might hear the chat. We could have it here and invite someone in as a guest. See how the podcast to.
I like that.
See if you feel comfortable or not. Sorry, rules are rules.
Rules are rules. Rules are rules. That'd be a heated conversation with the two of you.
We'll bring up the blackboard because I've still got it.
Here's the stats.
Strava doesn't lie. But it is important because rules for rules.
Yes.
If a participation points and what those events are, at the end of the day, it's all there for fun, right? But yeah, at the end of the day, it's one of those things. It's if it's out there, it's out there.
Exactly.
Sorry, and I was very, very careful about how I put the rules together.
There's
For
some
the
amazing people that are out there.
Absolutely.
But again, it's just for like it was great. We loved it. It was fantastic. I loved that day. It was the best time.
Absolutely, because that was the last downhill December.
Yeah.
It was the biggest one, both in attendance and distance as well.
Yeah, it was pretty
And it was great because Christina turned up and had a bunch of shop blocks and stuff. For people. Like that was really cool.
and it engaged people because people like you had to drive back up to the top
Yes.
to get the drop in again on the loop, right? So there was like people shuttling cars and racing to the cars to get them there.
Became a real community
You
vibe.
lock your keys in the car on accident on purpose. I don't know what's going on here, but let's get the beers out early. I don't know. It was good.
And no injuries. Oh no, we did have an injury early on.
And a lost wedding ring.
And a lost wedding ring.
And a found wedding ring.
That was like one of the highlights of the whole series.
And we had big rain on that day. That was that next day. It was crazy.
Yes.
Wasn't it? So, but then you can see we're excited about it. You know, even from the participation and involvement sort of process, though, that was what we loved, and you know, also hopefully people will come along and participate. So that was April
18th is the first event,
one.
and you don't have to be there for every single event.
Yeah. So
You don't have to be there for the first
So what's coming behind that? So April 18th, and we've got I know they've all got different names, and they're all already up sitting in the.
They're all on the
Facebook
Facebook page and in the events page of
Yes, so
Physiotherapy.
this is a fine.
So go and I'd highly recommend going on the Facebook page. If you have Instagram, you can check out all the information there as well.
Or ask and find out again.
Or jump into my Instagram and check it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, jump on the Facebook page. I'm trying to put sort of regular posts up just to remind people because the way the algorithm works.
Yeah, so April 18th, then does that mean like there's one week, 2, 3, it's a month later? When's the next?
Yeah, I think the following one, I should have written them all down. But roughly, there's one, I've sort of given it 2 to 3 weeks gap between most of them.
So one by 4, just before, I think it's just before UTA,
Yes.
from memory, which is like again May 18th. That might be a 3-week gap.
Yes.
And then you've got, roughly that cycle of 3
Got
4
UTA,
weeks.
so nothing on UTA, but then giving it a couple of weeks for people to recover, and they can come back and
They've
get
done
involved.
Seacliff, and they've all got some fucking names. But they're all over the Scartman. Whereabouts are they located? So not exactly where, but range of
So
where they
the
are.
idea is to really maximise the use of our escarpment because again, yes, the social stuff, yes, the community stuff, but also introducing people to stuff that they might not have experienced yet or being too afraid to go and have a look at.
Yeah, good for people. So
now you have a group of people who can come together and go, oh, there's this trail. Oh, there's that trail. I've never done this little bit before. So, So whereas Downhill December was really focused on segments, like linked to that Strava side of things, this is a little bit more explorative, I think.
Yeah. There's some interesting ones in there.
Yes.
In there, yeah.
Yes,
Definitely. Now that you've said that.
Couple little and different formats too.
Yeah.
So there's some really straightforward loops or point to points, but then I've thrown in a little bit of sort of some fun stuff like book hunting and punch cards and different things like that.
We've seen the style punch cards around.
Yes.
Yeah, so we've been exploring. Yeah.
So that's going to be trying to keep it interesting and fun for everyone.
Yeah.
So it's not not just I have to be the fastest or I have to try and race.
Yeah.
Thrown in some handicap style events as well. So based on roughly on your 5K time trial, so that the idea being some of the longer runners will start first, and then those quicker runners will start in the back, and then we'll all finish together.
Reminds me
to have a bit of a celebration.
I think it might have been Brokers to the Bulleye post with Seacliff,
which was great. Like that was such a great series.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Earlier, that was a few years ago now, and that was a handicap starting from Brokers Road itself up to Brokers Nose, all the way to Bulleye, and that was a handicap event which was fantastic, along with a few other events that we did with the Battle of Brokers and everything. So yeah, similar idea, except spread out all the way from sort of Helensburgh right down.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
down
really.
So right across
Oh,
the escarpment, trying to pick up. There's a couple of spots that are missed, semi-deliberately. But trying to really expose people
Very cool.
to everything.
Exciting.
Yeah, should be fun.
Not that far away.
No, not that, like really close. We got realistically, it's a few weeks, or maybe 3 weeks now.
3 weeks, yeah, give and take, coming up to the weekend.
Yeah,
yeah.
So I'd strongly encourage people to come out and meet some people, have some fun, and experience some new trails.
Cool. So I think that was our comeback episode.
Yes.
We raw mode that, raw dog, whatever you want to call it. That was like unscripted, punch through. So if you haven't been following, there's Instagram for Seacliff Coasters to get onto, because we've obviously got the runs.
Yes.
Facebook pages.
Instagram and Facebook page. Also Strava for Seacliff Coasters.
Yes.
Let's jump on Coaster Mountain.
Right, because that's where the workshops and everything's getting posted.
Exactly.
Some reels and some content, and you follow along with that. There's obviously some things in there to keep an eye on. You've got Kath White's running.
White's running.
To
jump on, who also has an Instagram page.
Yeah, you've got Dylan, Make It Count Performance. Hook up. You've also got Prep Health and Performance, so Prep HP, which is Josh and Mikaela Lambert's baby.
That's
It's
right.
out there going really well.
And then Intense Eat Fit.
That's the one.
Yeah.
By Gaby.
Yes.
All the way from Perth. So we're pretty excited about obviously what's out there and what's coming up at the moment. Got any items? Throw it at us.
Absolutely.
Endless Trials Podcast.
And for us, we've got Instagram, YouTube, Spotify,
Apple
Podcast,
email, no website, Facebook account.
Yep.
Maybe.
Jump on, follow us.
No Strava account.
No Strava account.
Got me. I'm not doing much at the moment. Follow Josh.
Come and see
if you want to see about bike riding, I'm learning a new skill. Stationary bike too.
Yes.
I'm not even getting to see anything.
No.
I'm just watching someone in front of me.
But an important part of your training journey at the moment.
At the moment, it's yes, very important.
There's some big goals ahead.
That's right, but we'll kick on strong and always come back better, which is exactly how I roll. So also
jump in, make some comments.
Yeah.
Follow us.
We've got a few more things.
Recommend us to all your friends.
Yeah.
Talk around the work cooler, and
I'm just hoping that my video hasn't been like that the whole time. It's just been jumpy, but we'll blame Josh and his tech afterwards. Thanks, guys.